Hi everyone. I just wanted to come on here and thank every single one of you for your support, taking the time.
I got it off the court. I've actually got the line.
Alex Eala has landed on Netflix, and what began as Asia's pride is rapidly transforming into a global movement. The lights of Melbourne Park may have dimmed, but the story is far from over. In fact, for millions of fans across Asia and around the world, the real drama is only just beginning. When Eala burst onto the scene at the Australian Open in 2026, many believed they were simply watching another talented rookie trying to carve her name into the Grand Slam stage, but we were spectacularly, magnificently wrong. What unfolded was not just a tennis breakthrough, it was the opening chapter of a cultural phenomenon. Fans felt it in their bones, the fearless baseline rallies that seemed to defy physics, the deafening roar of the crowd that sounded more like a rock concert than a tennis match, and the Philippine flag rising higher with every single point. Now, however, that journey has taken a twist. However whist, no one expected. The court was only the stage twist. Stage, the world has become the audience, and Alexa's story is just getting started. T has officially landed on Netflix, and the tennis world is losing stage, osing, its mind. Welcome back to Cortiva Closing, or TIVA. Tennis, your #1 source for the stories that truly matter. Today, this is not just about forehands and backhands, it's about a revolution. It's about the exact moment a tennis player transformed into a global icon. From heartbreak at the Australian Open in Melbourne to the red carpet spotlight of streaming giants, and then to a shocking resurrection in the deserts of Dubai that left experts speechless. This is the definitive story of Alex Eala's 2026 season. Buckle up because we're diving deep into the news you won't hear on traditional broadcasts. The raw, unfiltered, electrifying truth about Asia's pride. The girl who dared, the player who suffered, and the champion who rose. The headline breaking the internet is diving the internet simple. Netflix, the streaming giant known for turning local stories into global obsessions, has now turned its lens toward Melbourne's Grand Slam. And right at the heart of the frame, the internet frame, is Alex's spirit. Yes, the same platform that brought audiences global sensations like Formula One, Drive to Survive, and Breakpoint has aimed its powerful storytelling machine at the frame drama unfolding in Australia. On the new documentary series titled Ball Kids goes beyond the spotlight of the superstars. On the surface, it tells the story of the tournament's unsung heroes, the young ball kids who sprint, dive, and stand frozen under the scorching Australian heat to keep the matches flowing. Narrated by Australian comedian and actor Celia Paccola, the series pulls back the curtain on the emotion, pressure, and human moments that define the tournament moments where one name keeps rising to the surface. Alexa, the series pulls back the curtain on Grand Slam chaos in a way we've never seen. Drama unfolding. Before exposing the nerves, the sweat, the intense Top Gun-style selection process for ball kids, and the heavy backstage silence before the storm of every match at the Australian Open. But here's where the story turns electric. Our early viewers and insiders are buzzing, suzzing, about one emotional thread that gives the documentary its heartbeat, while the camera's buzzing. Cameras follow the ball kids, the camera's kids. The pressure they feel is shaped by the players they serve. And in 2026, few players generated the kind of atmosphere that Alex Eala did. The Filipino sensation delivers some of the documentary's kids, the documentary's most powerful and tear-inducing moments, offering a portrayal of sport that goes far beyond the scoreboard. Reports from the premiere of tear-inducing The Premier Ball Kids on Netflix suggests that Ella's segments are nothing short of a revelation. We're not just watching a player asking for a towel, we're witnessing a young woman carrying the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders, yet still treating everyone around her, including the ball kids, with grace and warmth despite impossible pressure. One scene already being hailed by fans as a tearjerker captures the raw, unfiltered tension of a locker room before her main draw debut. The focus in her eyes, the silent prayer, the magnitude of the moment pressing down on her shoulders. To a nearby ball kid, she isn't just a competitor, she's a Titan suggests Seton, of flesh and fire. And to millions watching across Southeast Asia, she represents the long-awaited answer to a generational question. When will one of our Titan, ours, stand among the giants? Ours giants. Social media across Asia erupted as soon as rumors of her prominent role surfaced. The hashtag Eala O Rumors Eala Netflix began trending within hours, with one viral post declaring, she carried more than a racket. She carried a nation, Eala Nation, and now the world Fination. The world only sees how heavy that load was. The message amassed hundreds of thousands of likes in less than a day, underscoring the cultural magnitude of the moment. This is more than a cameo. It's a soft power breakthrough for Philippine sports. For decades, tennis documentaries. The world documentaries have documentaries centered on icon-centered cons, like Roger Federer, Serena Williams, and Rafael Nadal, the sports royalty. To see an Asian rising star woven into the narrative architecture of a major global production icons. Production signals a shift. It tells us the producers understand where the production energy now lives. Not just in Europe or North America, but in the passionate, digitally connected, thunderously loud fan base of Southeast Asia. Critics are calling Ball Kids a masterpiece of sports storytelling because it humanizes. Energy humanizes the Grand Slam machine and reminds us that behind every thunderous rally and championship point, humanizes. Championship points are human beings be championship point seeings. Dreaming, doubting, and daring on the world stage. A Grand Slam tournament is not just a collection of scores and statistics. It's a living, breathing, emotional organism. And for us at Cortiva Tennis, it's the Eala factor that makes this story utterly unmissable. Alex Eala's 2026 run at the Australian Open wasn't merely logged into a database, it was immortalized beings. Immortalized as a cinematic chapter in sports history, now amplified through Netflix. This wasn't just a tournament appearance. It became a defining cultural moment. You'll understand why this Netflix spotlight matters so deeply. We have to rewind to January 2026. The setting was Melbourne, Elborn Park. The atmosphere was volcanic. Eala didn't enter Melbourne cautiously or burdened by hesitation. She arrived with palpable momentum and unmistakable swagger. There was electricity in her. Movement, a sense that she wasn't just participating in the draw, but charging straight into it, ready to shake the foundations of the sport. Eala had already proven she belonged on the big stage. Fresh off a stunning title at the prestigious Kwong Classic and a gritty, gutsy run at the ASB Classic in Auckland, her ranking had surged to world number 49, a number that no longer whispers prospect, it screams legitimate threat. Her first-round opponent, Washer, the opponent, the American powerhouse of the opponent, our house, Alicia Parks, a player known for her thunderous serve and aggressive net game. On paper, it was a classic Klashka powerhouse, lash of contrasting styles. Parks with raw power and baseline firepower versus Eala's lefty spin, tactical precision, and newly honed court coverage that had pundits buzzing all preseason. The match ignited like a house on fire. From the first ball, Eala came out swinging clash. Swinging, not with nerves, but with a predatory instinct that stunned everyone watching. She secured a triple break in the opening set, an extraordinarily rare feat against a server of Parks' caliber. Swinging caliber, every shot was precise. She painted the lines, moved Parks side to side like a chess master, and relentlessly exploited every weakness in her opponents. Movement. On the Filipino supporters, famously among the loudest and most passionate in the world, transformed court caliber. Court 3 into a Manilay court manlikiki fortress. Every winner was manlike. The winner met with screams that carried across the Melbourne skyline. But tennis is a game of cruel precision where momentum, the The winner momentum and mental fortitude can shift's momentum shift in an instant. Parks found her rhythm shift, hithem, and unforced errors began creeping into Eala's game lyrhythm. Game Iska shadows at dusk, the weight of a main draw debut, the history she was attempting to write, and the hopes of an entire nation watching all pressed down on her shoulders. The tide of the match had begun to turn, proving that even prodigies must navigate the fine line between brilliance and vulnerability. And the weight of expectation began to settle on Eala's 20-year-old shoulders. Despite her heroic start, her bravery, and her brilliance, she ultimately exited in the first round. On the scoreboard, it was a loss, but the story told Gamey is. The story something entirely different. It revealed a champion in the making. At the post-match press conference, Eala was visibly emotional yet composed, carrying herself with a dignity that earned the respect of journalists who cover this sport year-round. She spoke chapter. See the story annedly, about the steep learning curve, the unique intensity of Grand Scandidly, a Grandlam competition, and the burning, relentless hunger to return stronger. With Netflix cameras capturing that very moment of pain and resolve, the world now sees why What a Grand What came next was so extraordinary. Because she did regroup spectacularly, memorably, and in a way that left the tennis world scrambling to rethink everything it thought it knew about this young Filipino phenom. The plot twist, redemption in the desert. If this were a Hollywood film, the Australian Open had been the dark night of the soul. The moment when the hero falls from the mountain, leaving the audience holding its breath, wondering if she has what it truly takes to rise again. Every great story in What a Story eats that moment of doubt. Every champion needs story, the champions that cave, and now the another. The champion, the sequelas arrived, and it is nothing short of an action blockbuster. While the sequel, the world debated her standout moments and theoments. In Ball Kids and added the series to their Netflix watch lists, Alex was boarding a plane to the Middle East. She landed in Dubai for the prestigious Dubai Tennis Championships, a WTA 1000 event, a tier just below the Grand Slams in prestige, prize money, and player caliber. Moments, caliber. The Shark Tank doesn't even begin to describe the intensity. Eala arrived in Dubai with a point to prove, ready to show the world exactly who she is. The stakes in Dubai could practically be measured in fire. Doubters' caliber. Doubters' whispers were growing louder. Was the Kwong Classic title a fluke of Doubters' Luke against weaker opponents? Could she truly withstand the raw power of the world's top 10 on the biggest stages? Was she simply a marketing phenomenon, a hype train with great optics but limited results? These questions were circulating in forums, on broadcasts, and through the halls of tennis clubs worldwide. Alex Eala didn't respond with words. She answered with a racket. And the fluke, their response was thunderous. And February 2. The 0 in February 26th, Eala stepped onto the hard courts of Dubai to face Jasmine Pini. Let's give some serious respect to that in February hat. Name. Pini is no ordinary competitor. She is the world number 8, a former champion of the Dubai Tennis Championships and a Grand Slam finalist, battle scars and all. By every metric that matters in modern women's tennis, she is a titan. Most pundits predicted a routine straight sets, she sets victory for the Italian. Already moving on to preview the quarterfinals, sets quarterfinals, but they hadn't accounted for the Eala evolution. Nobody had. From the very first ball, Eala looked like an entirely new force, focused, fearless, and ready to rewrite the narrative. By the time the match began, Alexa was an entirely different player than the one who had exited Melbourne in the first round. The hesitation was gone, replaced by the cold, calculating gaze of a predator. She wasn't waiting for Pini to make mistakes. She was forcing them with surgical precision. Eala dominated the first set, taking it 6-1. Let that sink in. 6-1 crowd is to 1 against the world number 8. It was a masterclass in controlled aggression with winners from defensive positions that left the Dubai A southpaw. The crowd is gasping and murmuring in awe. Her frustrated and southpaw forehand created impossible angles, leaving Pawini stranded, frustrated, and visibly shaken. Had anyone predicted this score before the match, they would have smiled politely and told you to be realistic. But champions rarely play by the rules of expectation. True to form, Penny dug deep into her vast reservoir of experience and stormed back in the second set, using every tactical weapon at her disposal to drag the match into a tense dogfight. The score reached 6-5, deep. In favor of Penny, and Eala stood at the precipice, serving to stay in the match, the tiebreak looming and the ghost of Melbourne whispering doubts in her ear. One slip, one moment of hesitation, and the match would have gone to a deciding set where the veteran's experience often prevails. Eala held her serve. The crowd collectively held its breath. Filipino expatriates in Dubai, gathered in extraordinary numbers, shook the stadium, walls with their chanting. It felt like Manila is in the middle of the desert. Eala would later recall the chance of letting Real go. Alex echoed and swelled, drowning out everything else. The tiebreak became a microcosm of Eala's entire career. Gritty, tense, loud, and fiercely determined. Glorious. At 6-5 in the tiebreak, match point for Eala. She did not play it safe. She didn't push. The ball back, hoping Penny would care. She went for her shots, trusting her hands, her preparation, and her heart. When Penny's final ball sailed just beyond the baseline, Eala dropped a racket, buried her face in her hands, and the stadium erupted. She had done it. She had stunned the world's number 8 on one of the sport's biggest stages. And her post-match interview, fighting back tears she had likely held since Melbourne, I told the crowd and viewers worldwide. I am really happy to have got through. She is a great opponent, obviously being top 10, so to be able to compete with her at this level, it is a great achievement for me. And the humility in her words made the triumph even more extraordinary. This was not just a win, it was a cross statement, etched into the WTA timeline. It marked her third career victory over a top 10 player, joining her previous conquests of Madison Keys and the great IG switch. But beyond statistics and ranking points, the victory proved that the Australian Open loss had not broken her. It had done what all great defeats should do, make a champion stronger. What had changed? Technically, analysts point to 3 key improvements in Eala's game that made her genuinely dangerous at this level, from court positioning to shot selection and mental resilience. There is also another dimension to her. Rise, the commercial and cultural momentum building around her. Brands are circling, international sponsorship discussions are intensifying, and the Netflix documentary has provided global exposure that most management teams spend years trying to manufacture. For Eala, this visibility arrived naturally, a byproduct of her extraordinary talent and character. The Philippine Olympic Committee and Philippine sports commissions are watching with barely concealed excitement as the possibility of representing the country at the highest level of Olympic tennis becomes increasingly real. The 2028 Los Angeles. The Olympics loom on the horizon, and the image of Alex Eala walking into Dodger Stadium with the Philippine flag on her back, ranked in the world's top 20, is a national sports fantasy decades in the making. Her trajectory suggests more than a successful career. It hints at historical significance. A top 10 ranking within 2 years, a Grand Slam quarterfinals that rewrite records, and an entire generation of Southeast Asian tennis players growing up pointing to elbow the way. European kids once pointed to Steffi Graf or Monica Seles dreaming, "That's what I want to be." The responsibility of being a pioneer is enormous, yet Eala carries it with a remarkable calmness. The movement is real, and it is only just beginning. Alex Eala is not just a player, she is the spark of a revolution. Alex Eala has officially landed on Netflix, and since that arrival, she has firmly embedded herself in the consciousness of the sporting world. The girl who once quietly collected junior Grand Slam titles while the professional circuit barely noticed is now undeniably a giant killer. While Ball Kids ostensibly celebrates the unsung heroes of the court, the young athletes who sprint, a dive and freeze to keep the matches. Flowing, it has inadvertently and beautifully spotlighted the true hero for the Filipino community and Asian tennis as a whole. From tears in Melbourne to triumph in Dubai, from quiet locker room prayers to the roar of a stadium transformed into a slice of Manila in the desert. This is a story of resilience that even the most daring Hollywood screenwriter might hesitate to pitch. Yet the best part is that it's 100% real and happening right now on the courts, on screens, and in the hearts of millions. We are witnessing the transformation of potential into power, hype into substance. Eala is emerging as a genuinely transformative sporting figure who will reshape not just the WTA rankings, but the cultural conversation around women's tennis for the next decade and beyond. The world is watching. Alex, and every streaming platform, sports desk, and casual fan who stumbled upon an Eala highlight clip at 2 a.m. unable to look away. And she is unquestionably brilliantly ready for her close-up. Born for this, trained for this, having suffered, grown, and evolved for this exact moment. The question remaining is not if she will reach the summit, but how magnificent, dramatic, and deeply Filipino the journey there will be. Asia's pride isn't coming, it's already here. The shockwave has hit, and the tremors will only intensify. The 2026 season is shaping into a masterpiece thriller, and we are only 2 months in. With 5 more Grand Slams ahead, there are countless opportunities for Eala to write new chapters that will be remembered for years. Did you catch the buzz around her? Appearance in Ball Kids? Did that insider look at the human side of the Australian Open change? How you view players behind the baseline? And after her seismic victory over world number 8 Jasmine Pini, how far do you think she can go in the Dubai Championships? Quarterfinals and semifinals? Could she claim her first WTA 1000 title in the desert? Can she crack the top 30 before Roland Garros even begins? Share your predictions, passion, and Filipino pride in the comments. This channel was built for exactly these conversations. Every comment is read personally, shaping the stories we pursue and the content we create. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please do one enormous favor. Hit that like button. It costs nothing, but it signals to YouTube that stories like Alex and Eala deserve to be seen. Every like is a vote for more coverage, see more breaking tennis news, and the stories mainstream broadcasts won't tell. Subscribe to Cortiva Tennis if you haven't already. Tap the notification bell and select all notifications to be first in line for the next update, which will come soon. We are building something special and you are a critical part of it. This is Cortiva Tennis, signing off.